Hey, this video is different from the one before because I don't have glasses on in this one. Anyways, I'm ranking the Sopranos seasons from worst to best. Why? It's the fucking Sopranos, dude. It's the best show ever made. I think when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of television, you've got Sopranos, The Wire, Breaking Bad, and I don't know, Golden Girls. But in all honesty, I think that with the three shows, The Wire, Breaking Bad, and The Sopranos, Sopranos is objectively probably the best one. You've got Breaking Bad, which a lot of people would say is the best one. I would say Breaking Bad's on there for being the premium cinematic television experience on general television. AMC is a normal channel. And then, the third show, The Wire, it's the most progressive one. It's the one that breaks the most barriers and talks about the most issues and does it in a way that I think is more concise than a lot of people can do within 5 seasons of a show in an urban decayed area. God, I word things horribly. And The Sopranos actually has survived The Wire treatment in that it hasn't been really compared like The Wire is in terms of season to season. The Wire is meticulously examined by first season, second season. Oh boy, people do not like the second season. The third season, which is the objective best season. I actually don't know the online consensus. I just think the third season is the best season of the show. It's like when it comes to Sopranos, it's it's just a continuation. It's less so than Breaking Bad. It does, skip forward a few months or a year every season. But I do think it is important to note that it does continue pretty fluidly, almost more so than The Wire. So why would I compare every season side to side instead of the show as a whole? It's fun. Alright, we're starting with the worst season. 3. 3's bad. 3's not bad. Let me restate that. 3 is the weakest season of the greatest show ever. Meaning, it had a lot of missed opportunities. I think Nancy Marchand passing was the biggest hit to this season being successful. It was supposed to be the best season of the show because of the airline ticket storyline, yada yada. And it ended up suffering really hard, even though there was some gold in season 3. I think that Pine Barrens is one of the best episodes of the whole show, and I think that the Cora and Grata ending to season 3, chef's kiss, fantastic irony. But the other 11 episodes or so, the other 10 or 11 episodes, they just aren't the best. They aren't the best the show has to offer. So, yeah, I guess I should elaborate just a tiny bit more. I don't like Jackie Jr. and Meadows' romance side plot. It sucks. Mostly because I think Jackie Jr. had a lot of potential to be an interesting character, and instead they spoiled and squandered his potential being a fucking idiot. And I get it. It's more of the dramatic irony and whatever the fuck you want to say. I just hate it because I think Jackie Jr. could have been the heir apparent of Jackie Aprile, the real heir apparent. Unlike Richie, who was just the fucking territorial psychopath. But they ruined the character, made him dumb, and killed him off. On with it to season 4. The midpoint of The Sopranos in general is the weakest, but at least season 4 is a little bit more memorable, has a lot more moments that I think make it stand out from season 3. First off, I know I forgot to mention Gloria in the season 3 part. She's the fill-in for Livia Soprano. Who cares? But Valentina, fire. I think she's just very attractive. That's the whole reason. And you do see her boobs, so I think Ralph's a lot more interesting of a character in this season. He goes through sort of a transformation near the end. I think that Christopher's transformation as a character is fantastic, and it was the right step for the character to take. And I like season 3. It ended pretty well. I liked the ending to season 4. I really don't have a whole lot to say about season 4. It's just not as weak as season 3, and I don't have much gripe about it other than it's not as good as the other season. Speaking of, we're on season 6 right now. Season 6 is the end of The Sopranos. It's a 23 long farewell, really. Season 6 should be higher by most accounts. It's the end of The Sopranos. It ends pretty strongly, in my opinion. The show ends on such a note, just a what happened, or just a serious note, or an ominous, whatever happens, it's not going to be good, that type of note it ends off on once you get to that last episode. However, It's not as good as season 1. So that's the entire reason why it's not in the top 3. So I don't think it's better than season 1. So now that being said, there is another reason why it's not in the top 3. It's a great season. It's long. It has a lot of shit going on in it. With Christopher's movie to Christopher's death. Spoiler, I guess. To Tony getting shot in the beginning, not the ending. To just 23 episodes of just utter madness in the show, and David Chase just going insane. But the reason why it is not in the top 3 is because the war on New York and New Jersey was weak. It was like a 40-minute war. Like, it sucked. I get it. It's more realistic than doing like an entire season where a mob family is warring against each other. But like, for the climax of Phil Leotardo, that's not a good send-off, in my opinion. We're on season 1. Strong first season. I think it does everything it can to be a pretty singular story, I guess you would say. Like, you could watch the first season and not watch any of the show after it, and it would be like, yeah, this is great. Like, if they actually canceled it back then, which people thought was going to happen. I think the introduction to a lot of the characters that we would grow to love and sort of not love's a weird word for these characters, grow to enjoy watching say stupid shit, that's a better, the introduction of characters like Paulie, Chrissy, Silvio, Pussy. I think that the conflict between Livia Soprano and Tony Soprano, and also Junior and Tony, which I don't think a whole lot of people talk about when it comes to season 1, because there's so much more complicated with how that relationship is in the later seasons. I still think that relationship is very notable in the first season because of, who's going to rule the DeMio crime family and all that shit. I think season 1 really good, but the second season's better. Season 2, we got Big Pussy. Everyone's back except for Jimmy, and Jimmy's the worst character in the entire show. He's there for one season. He doesn't say anything. He's just there. He's being fat, and he's a rat, so they kill him. But of course, the second season is a perfect continuation of the first season. I think the greatest part of season 2 is just the fact that all the conflict that happens in the season with Richie, which, by the way, let me just stop here right here. Richie Aprile is like my second favorite character in that whole show. My favorite character is Johnny Sack. People are going to be confused why the seasons with the most Johnny Sack in it are the worst, in my opinion. He can't carry a whole season. He's just a really good side character. Richie, though, Richie carries season 2. I don't care what anyone says. He is such a strong antagonist. He's so unlikable, and he's funny as fuck. Dude, I just love anything this guy says. I just think everything that dude says is gold. Like, everything. He's gold on the screen. I think that the death of Big Pussy, while polarizing, is also the perfect thing that could have happened at the end of season 2, how they ended it. Just a lot of stuff, hard-hitting, but it ain't no season 5. Season 5, in my opinion, the best, the superior Sopranos season. Here's why. Okay, so first off, Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi is great. In everything he's in, Steve Buscemi is good. He's in Fargo, he's good. He's in Boardwalk Empire, great. He's in this, love him in this. He's even good in, like, shit you forget he's in. Like, I always forget he's in Reservoir Dogs. He's great in Reservoir Dogs. He's great in The Big Lebowski. I almost always forget he's in The Big Lebowski, but he's Donnie, bro. Anyways, enough of my Steve Buscemi rant. He's a great actor. And I love how people like him, who are as ugly as him, can make it in Hollywood just by being good actors. I think Steve Buscemi's great. I think the introduction of Phil Leotardo is great. I didn't talk about Phil Leotardo in the season 6 part because he's so good in this season. Everything Phil Leotardo does in both seasons is gold, but in this season, it's just so much better because it's season 5. I think season 5's conflicts much stronger. I think the therapy sessions with Melfi much more impactful to the plot, and I think that Unidentified Blackmails is the best episode of the show. I know it's not a hot take, and I know people are just gonna say, "Oh, you're just saying that 'cause you love Mad Men." I've never watched Mad Men. I think that episode's just genuinely the best episode of the show. So that's my ranking of the 6 Sopranos seasons. Now, none of them are bad, but 3 is the weakest, and Pine Barrens is undoubtedly fantastic, but it can't carry that whole season for being boring compared to the rest of the show. Anyways, if you disagree with me, put it down in the comments. Tell me how much of an idiot I am.